Today we learn a new chapter, Visualizing Solid Shapes. One-dimensional shapes. What is meant by a one-dimensional shape? Shapes having length only are called one dimension. For example, line, ray, line segment. These are all one-dimensional shapes. Two-dimensional objects or shapes. Shapes having two measurements or two dimensions are called two-dimensional shapes. For example, rectangle, square, triangle. All these are two-dimensional shapes. Here, the two dimensions are length and breadth. And the two-dimensional shapes are otherwise called 2D shapes. So, what will be three-dimensional shapes having length, breadth and height are called three-dimensional shapes. For example, cube, length, breadth and height is there. Three dimensions are there. Cuboid, length, breadth, height is there. All these are pyramids, prisms, all these are three-dimensional shapes. And three-dimensional shapes or objects, we call it 3D figures. So, one-dimensional having only one dimension, that is length only. Two-dimension, it has shapes having two dimensions like length and breadth. Example, rectangle, square, etc. And what are three-dimensional shapes which is having three dimensions, that is length, breadth and height? For example, cube, cuboid, prism, pyramid, all these are three-dimensional shapes. Polyhedron. What is meant by polyhedron? A three-dimensional figure whose faces are all polygons, or a solid shape bounded by polygons is known as polyhedron. Children, just think of a cube. The sides of the cube, the faces of the cube. How many faces are there? 6 faces. And all the 6 faces are polygons. What is meant by polygon? A closed figure is known as a polygon made up of straight lines. Closed figure made up of straight lines are known as polygons. In a cube, cuboid and all, you can see that all the 6 faces are closed as well as they are made up of line segments. So, any figure made up of, any 3D figure made up of polygons is known as a polyhedron. Example is cube and cuboid. So, what will be a non-polyhedron? Non-polyhedron means solids which have curved faces. Figures which are not made up of line segments. Figures which are made up of curved faces. Think of a cone. Cone has got a circular face. Cylinder, it has got a circular face. So, all these are examples of non-polyhedrons. Okay. Then, two important members of the polyhedron are prisms and pyramids. What is meant by a prism? When I say a prism, just imagine a prism on in your head, like a table weight. Then square prism, Rubik's cube, that is a square prism. So, what is meant by a prism? It is a polyhedron in which the base and the top are congruent polygons. So, prism is a polyhedron in which the base and the top are congruent polygons and the sides are made up of parallelograms. So, what is meant by a prism? It is a polyhedron in which the top and bottom are congruent polygons and the sides or the lateral faces are made up of parallelograms. Here you can see a square prism. This is the top part and this is the bottom part. Both are made up of congruent polygons. Both are squares itself. And the sides, they are also made up of squares. Square is a parallelogram. You can see I have marked here. These are called the vertex. Then the side is otherwise known as edge. This is a triangular prism. The top and bottom part, this is the top part, this is the bottom part. They are made up of congruent polygons and the sides are made up of parallelograms. So what is meant by a prism, children? It's a polyhedron in which base and top are congruent polygons and the lateral sides are made up of parallelograms. Pyramid. Imagine pyramids in Egypt. Bring the shapes of the pyramids in your mind. Pyramid is a polyhedron whose base is a polygon and faces are triangles with a common vertex. So, pyramid is a polyhedron whose base is a polygon and the faces are triangles with a common vertex. Here I have drawn a triangular pyramid. This is the base. It's a shape of a triangle. Triangle is a polygon. Then all the other faces are also triangles. So this is a triangular pyramid drawn. It has got a common vertex. So what is a pyramid? A pyramid is a polyhedron whose base is a polygon and faces are triangles with a common vertex. Prism. Prism is also a polyhedron whose base and top are congruent polygons and the sides are parallelograms. For pyramids, the sides are triangles. For prism, the sides are parallelograms. For prism, top and bottom congruent polygons. For pyramid, the bottom part is a polygon. Okay. As you can see, the pyramids and prisms are named after their base. What is the shape? According to the shape of the base, pyramid or prism is named. For example, here, base is a square, so it is a square prism. If the base is rectangular, it will be a rectangular prism. Here you can see base is a triangle, so it is called a triangular prism. In case if the base of a prism is hexagon, we call it as a hexagonal prism. If the base is a 8-sided polygon, then we call it as a octagonal prism or octagonal pyramid. Okay? Thank you.